Okay, guys, so this is furthering 2.6a2. It's also a piece of 6.5. It's working with linear inequalities, but it's writing them versus graphing them because we already know how to graph them. And it's also working with real life situations again. So you guys already have notes that you should have cut out and glued down that say the 3 steps of writing the inequality. And then you should also have this example sheet glued down so that you're ready to follow along. So this is number 1, and it gives us this inequality, and we are going to write it. So the first step is to write the equation. Now remember the pieces that we need to be able to write an equation. You need either the slope and the y-intercept. Well, I'm not really sure what the y-intercept is here. You could have the slope and a point. I could maybe count slope and then choose one of those points, but I would rather just use 2 points. That way I'm sure I counted correctly, I'm sure I went the right direction, and if I want to check myself by counting, I can definitely do that. So I'm going to use 2 points method. So I have 2 points, 1, 2, 3, -4, -1. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, and so I'm going to find the slope here, which you guys know how to do this. We've been doing this all chapter long. Okay, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 4 gives me 3/7 for a slope. Now at this point, remember, you have the choice. You can pick whichever point you want, and you can use either point slope form or y equals mx plus b. I think second hour, you guys are a lot of y equals mx plus b'ers. Fifth hour, you're more point slope form. It doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. I'm going to use 3, 2, and then that slope of 3/7. And I'm going to go ahead and use point slope form. So y minus 2 equals 3/7 x minus 3. That gives me y minus 2 equals 3/7 x minus 9/7. And then I'm going to add the 2 across. So that'll be y equals 3/7 x. Common denominator there would be 14/7, so that would leave me with 5/7. Okay, so all of that we should already know how to do, okay? Then the next step said, determine the type of symbol, meaning is this a solid or a dotted line? Well, obviously this is dotted, so that tells me my symbol is either going to be a less than or a greater than, okay? Because we know that gives us a dotted line when we're graphing. Then it says determine the direction of the symbol. And to do that, we look at the shading. So remember how we always pick an easy point, and that easy point, as long as it's not on the line, is 0, 0, which it's okay here. I'm going to use that. So we know that 0, 0 is in the shaded region, meaning it is in a true place, okay? So when I sub 0, 0 into this guy, I want to make a true statement with whichever symbol works. So 0 is what compared to 3/7 times 0 plus 5/7? Okay, well, this would be 0, this would be 0 plus 5/7. So is 0 less than 0 plus 5/7, or is 0 greater than 0 plus 5/7? Obviously, it's less than. So that's the symbol that I want to go right up here. Okay, because remember, this isn't an equation, it's an inequality. And so my final answer is y is less than 3/7 x plus 5/7. Okay, so the only new part for today is deciding your symbol and then testing a point in the shaded region to make a true statement and then subbing that in so that it's not an equation. It's representing an inequality. Okay, let's do that again. So we've got this guy. Again, call him number 2. Again, I like to use 2 points just so that I know that I've counted correctly. It's not that you still can't make errors. It just makes me feel more comfortable. So, I mean, I could guess that maybe the y-intercept was 0, 0, but I don't know that for a fact, so I'm not going to use that, okay? All right, so my 2 points would be -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This might turn out to be a little prettier than I thought. Okay, so again, I'm going to find the slope. 5 plus 5 over 2 plus 2 gives me 10/4, which would reduce to 5/2. Now, since I used point slope form last time, I'm going to use y equals mx plus b this time just so we can get practice with both. I'm going to use 2, 5 for my point. Okay, so I'm going to use these two guys. So 5 equals 5/2 times 2 plus b. That would be 5 equals 10/2 or 5 plus b. So b would be 0. My y-intercept was 0. Okay, all right. So then that means my equation is y equals 5/2 x plus 0. You really don't have to have that 0 there, but I like to just put it there as a place value so that you guys, or a placeholder so that you guys remember that's where b goes. Okay, so now let's talk about our symbol. We've got a solid line here, so that means it has to be either less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Now I need to pick a point that's in this shaded region that would make this true. Now I can't use 0, 0 this time because we know he's on the line. So what if I use like -1, +1? Okay, I'm going to test -1, +1. So 1 is what compared to 5/2 times -1 plus 0? Well, that would be 1, and this would be -5/2. Obviously, plus 0, that's not going to change. 1 would be greater than or equal to -5/2. So that symbol right there goes all the way up and replaces that equal sign. So my final answer is y is greater than or equal to 5/2 x. Okay? All right, so that's adding those extra steps when we're working with inequalities, okay? All right, now let's look at our real life situation. Again, you should have this cut out and glued in, okay? And it says you have $12 to spend on fruit for a meeting. Grapes cost $1 per pound. $1 per pound, and peaches cost $1.50 per pound. Write and graph an inequality to model the amount of grapes and peaches you can buy, then give 4 combinations that are solutions to this situation. Now, keywords here, inequality, so I know I have to use an inequality symbol. I also see 2 types of something. I have grapes, and I have peaches, and I have a total right here, okay? So that tells me this is going to be in cover-up method, no contest, okay? So I have $1 for my grapes and $1.50 for the peaches. And I have $12 to spend, so we have to think about the inequality symbol that could go with that. If I have money to spend, I can't spend more than that. I can only spend less than, I could spend all of it, so or equal to. And you guys have some of those hint words on that note-taking guide, like you have at least, no less than, at most, no more than, kind of some reminders of which symbol to use there. My biggest thing, guys, make sure your total is on the right when you use those, okay? All right, and then you'll be sure to use the right one. Now, this is obviously in cover-up method, okay? So G, or we would know that as X, is going to be 12, and looks like P is going to be 8. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to count by ones if I can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to write it in. I should have started a little farther over. There's my axis. There's 12. There's 8. We know this is a solid line. I don't have enough hands to use a ruler, guys, so use a ruler at your desk. Then remember, we're supposed to test a point. We always test 0, 0 when we're graphing. Is 1 times 0 plus 150 times 0 less than or equal to 12? Well, sure, because that's going to cancel that whole side out. That would be 0. So I'm going to shade down, but remember, this is a real-life situation, so I can't have any negatives. I'm only going to shade down in first quadrant. Then it says, give 4 combinations that are solutions. Any whole numbers in this quadrant work. So you could buy 1 pound and 1 pound. You could buy 1 pound and 2 pounds, 1 pound and 3 pounds, 2 pound and 5 pounds. It doesn't matter as long as it's in that shaded region. But remember, you have to label. So 2 pounds of grapes and 3 pounds of peaches. 2, 3. 4 pounds of grapes, 1 pound of peaches. 4, 1. Okay? And we need 4 of those. We could say 12 grapes and 0 peaches. And we could say 0 grapes and 8 peaches. And there's an infinite number in here, okay? Well, I shouldn't say an infinite number because, well, yes, there is, because you could have a decimal of a pound. So you could say 1.2 pounds, 1.2 pounds and 1.2 pounds. Okay, so yeah, there is an infinite number of solutions in there. Okay? Okay, you can watch this video as much as you want. Please make sure you do your worksheet, guys. You'll have a daily quiz on this tomorrow. Daily quiz on this tomorrow.